since we've been in office. I mean, I don't think we probably all know that. 67%. The last year that the previous administration was in office, they had non-property tax revenues of $4 million. $4 million. Our non-property tax revenues this year, Bishop, are what, 2.3, Dave, 2.4?
Non-property tax?
You know, in other words, the mortgage tax, the interest, in other words, other than taxes. We're in the 2.3, 2.4 range. In any case, so it's gone from 4 million to 2.3, 2.4. If we'd had those 4 million, and the 2 years previous to that, the non-property tax revenues are $3.5 million. Our expenditures now are in the $3.1 million range. So we would have been on track to absolutely eliminate the town taxes this year if we'd had any kind of consistency in the revenues that come into the town. But again, you know, and Town Attorney Noto's not here tonight, and Mr. Mecca and Mr. Noto and Mr. Goodwin, who's joined us, have done an absolutely fantastic job in collecting monies out of the town. So we initiated our first in-rem procedure in 10 years. We took the penalty and interest revenues up by $600,000, and that made up for a lot of lost. And you know, this is not has absolutely nothing to do with the state of the economy. Absolutely nothing to do with the state of the economy. These are people who owed us money for 4 years prior to 2006. So when the boom days, boom markets, these people, for whatever reason, stopped paying taxes. And then 3 years, 4 years after the fact, we finally taken over. So, you know, the town is an administrative unit more than anything else. We don't have police when on fire, so I appreciate it's easier for us to reduce expenditures. But I also think there's a little bit of a lesson to be learned in terms of the approach that, you know, this board has taken, and particularly the employees of the town of Rice. I want to just thank everybody for the good effort. Okay, now we're going to modify our budget for 2009. Mr. Burns?
You have a resolution in front of you to vote on the budget money. This is basically housekeeping of the budget, and that's done every year. And it's just to realign the line items of the budget to reflect some actual spending, and that individual line items are not exceeded. There's no increase to the overall budget for 2009. Actually, we'll be coming in way under budget. But this is so that individual line items are not exceeded. There's really only one major item that increased significantly, which was under improvements on Schedule A that you have in front of you. And that's part of the resolution. And that is for improvements in operations of buildings. And that had to do with the major repair to the roof here at 10 Pearl Street. That work needed to get done, and that's why that increased by $75,000.
You know,
This is attachment A that's already on this page.
Well, I just...
I usually put an attachment to it. It's
You have this still, right?
right.
It's on...
That's the resolution. So if you can use either or, but I usually reference it as an attachment. It's
at some point, you want to talk a little bit about capital budgeting. Now, those $75,000 in roof improvements probably should have gone to our capital budget, shouldn't they? If we had a capital budget.
If we had a capital budget, correct, and that's why that change has been made in the 2010 budget by the town accountant.
Right. So what we've done, just so everybody's aware, is in this year's budget we have monies available for an eventual capital budget of $50,000, which would represent the debt and amortization on approximately about $500,000 in capital expenditures. So over the course of the next 2 months, Mr. Nowotnik, working with Mr. Burns and Mr. Terenzi, are going to come up with a capital budget, capital fund. Because, you know, really, we need to, again, begin to invest in the town infrastructure, because it's deteriorating. And second of all, we need to obviously allocate monies for those kinds of investments and in our parks as well. Crawford Park and Wright Town Park. Actually, I want to also take this opportunity to thank the park staff for coming in and refurbishing the building, doing a lot of painting. The building's beginning to take on a whole new feel. So I want to take this opportunity to thank them. Any questions on these are just reclassifications, is not, what's the fund balance what's your estimate of the fund balance, Mr. Burns?
By the end of the year, about $3.1 million.
And of which a lot, when I think we've had a big increase in the unrestricted fund balance, or our expectation is going to be about
almost $2 million.
Right.
And we are going to allocate $750 of the fund balance to the 2010 budget, and still have $1.2 million in reserve beyond that.
Which is our fund balance will still be well above 50% of.
It's correct.
And most municipalities are looking for 15-20%.
Of the right, and our annual budget's to 3.8. So
right.
Yeah.
Terrific. Any questions on this? Get a motion to approve the amended budget for 2009.
The line transfers, so second.
Alfarb. Mendocino.
Aye.
Nyors.
Aye.
Villanova. Harvey.
Yes. Okay. It's a resolution for the Wright Town Roof Park contract, Bishop.
We had provided the board with a draft copy of the architectural agreement. Excuse me, not architect, but the actual roof replacement contract with L&M Construction. This was the item that was approved for bonding, I think, at the last meeting, or at one of the last three meetings, if you will. And we were told that each of the municipalities would actually have to approve the execution of the contract. What has transpired here is that the contract literally was just delivered to us today in its final form. What I had given you was a draft that included the changes that were indicated. If you look at page, if you look at page 3, that was one of the changed items.
You're looking at the draft? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, from the draft.
Okay.
What had happened is Lisa Easton has actually taken the contract copy that we received today. She has to ferry it over to the city of Rye as well. The Rye Town Park Commission has approved it. So we're at the point where all we really need is kind of a ministerial approval. Remember, you've passed the bonding for this already. The amount is indicated on, the amount is indicated on page 3. You'll see it in the second paragraph, $1,335,858.90. And all we really need is resolve that the supervisor, Joe Carvin, has the authority to execute the roof replacement contract with L&M Construction in the amount of $1,335,858.90. I'm not doing as good a job as Attorney Noto, I can assure you.
Okay, I got it fine.
Well, we should mention that Attorney Noto's going to be coming late this evening. His daughter is apparently a field hockey all-star, and there's a dinner in her honor tonight, so we allowed him to come late for tonight's meeting.
Well, what else has been changed from what has been changed?
Well, the only item that was really changed was the amount had to be adjusted to accommodate the performance bond, which was $22,000. The original amount was $1,313,000.